now. Meeting, we'll pass it over to the clerk to get it started.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll start with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are on the lands of the Anishinaabe Nation. This spot where we gather is the traditional lands of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Ottawa, the Potawatomi, and the Ojibwe. We also recognize that this land is now home to the Delaware Nation. This land was settled through the McKee Purchase Treaty of 1790, and we, as beneficiaries of the treaty, must recognize our responsibilities, including our collective responsibilities to land and water. Now, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move on to disclosures of pecuniary interest. I have received two. I just received one from Councillor Solomon with regards to 11B, the RFP for the public transit service operator and impacts of driving forward implementation. And I've also received one from Councillor Hall on item 14B, which is the municipality's assistance to small business regarding COVID-19 pandemic. To my understanding, those are the only two conflicts of interest. Would there be any additional? Hearing none, we'll move on to deputations. This evening, Council, we have received two deputations. I just need 1 second to open my document here. So both of them are with regards to Councillor Kirkwood White's notice of motion with regards to the temporary arena repurposing of Thames campus. The first deputation is received from Megan Vanderendy. Good afternoon, Council, Mayor Caniff and members of Council. I am writing in regards to Agenda 15B, Councillor Kirkwood White's motion regarding temporary arena repurposing at Thames campus. As we have all seen, this pandemic has presented unprecedented challenges far beyond what is initially anticipated when this all began in March. We have seen the toll this has taken on all as we have tried to do our part and socially distance ourselves to protect ourselves and those most vulnerable in our community. As a mother of two school-aged daughters, I have begun to see some of the mental health impacts that being away from friends has caused. Additionally, we have struggled with the weather has turned colder to continue to pursue physical activity outside of school, given that many community programs are not able to run given COVID. My oldest daughter has started playing soccer this year. However, over the last few weeks, as the weather has changed, she has been unable to have weekly practices, and the Saturday games have been intermittent as well, given that there is no indoor space currently available to accommodate the league. Soccer for her has been an opportunity to move her body, which is something emphasized in our household, as well as to develop new skills, build confidence, and overcome the initial nerves of trying something new. We have seen her flourish in ways we hadn't anticipated, and this activity has become very important to finding balance through the pandemic for our daughter and our family. Without this repurposing, we will find her without an opportunity to continue to develop these skills and without an opportunity to continue these positive social interactions with peers outside of school. I would ask that you support this temporary repurposing. I don't believe that reducing available ice is the best solution for Chatham-Kent in the long term, but I certainly believe that the short term, this is the best interest of the community. The data presented at the last council meeting showed that there is ice time still available within the municipality, so this repurposing would not inherently negatively impact many people or families who participate in ice sports and activities. Instead, what this does is allow those who participate in off-ice sports and activities to have an outlet this winter to prioritize physical well-being, and in doing so improve their mental health as well. I know we are just one example of many communities, both younger and older, who would benefit from the opportunity to rent space to pursue a number of activities that help promote various aspects of health. As a municipality that prides itself on welcoming and retaining young families and supporting our aging population as well, this is a natural fit that aligns with these goals. Thank you in advance, Megan Vanderendy. And we have one additional deputation on the same item. This one is received from Southwest United Soccer Club and Academy. The COVID pandemic has resulted in a large impact on the availability of indoor facilities for sports and recreation groups. This has left many community groups with no facilities available to rent this winter. I believe there is an excess of 12 different user groups supporting this initiative to find space for their members and participants. Part of the initial decision to repurpose Erickson Arena was the current financial situation, as a significant portion of the 2020 arena budget is based on rental revenue. The municipality's 10 arenas are currently operating at a deficit of $235,867 per month. By creating rental space for alternative recreation activities for the broader demographic, the arena facilities will be more financially viable and responsive to community needs. The Thames Campus Arena currently does not have ice in it. Adding ice to this facility will surely add to the operating deficit of the arenas, as they are the only operating at approximately 60% of capacity. The demand for the ice, as shown by the rental numbers, does not warrant the cost of opening an additional arena. All of the Chatham-Kent's ice usage needs can currently be satisfied by 6 of the municipality's arenas. In the news article published today, Councillor Kirkwood-White states that according to municipal staff, there are 119 hours available to use at Thames Campus, and that the municipality has already received interest for 87 of the 119 hours. At an average rate of $65 per hour, this interest generates $23,750 of rental income per month without the additional cost of keeping ice in the facility and maintaining it. Unless there is a demand for more than 87 hours per week from ice-related rentals at a higher profit margin for the Thames Arena, I think that this decision makes sense financially. Surely it would be better to accommodate any additional demand for ice time at an arena that already has ice installed. A decision to convert the Thames Campus Arena to a multi-purpose facility for the winter of 2020 to 2021 makes financial sense for the taxpayer of the municipality of Chatham-Kent and serves to provide available facilities for recreation and sport for many children and residents within the community. In addition to the financial aspects of this decision, we have heard from numerous medical experts just how important sports and recreation is for maintaining good mental health. This is even more important in the darker winter months when the ability to be active outside is not easy. This initiative would have a positive impact on the broad cross-section of population and would serve those in different demographics, a multitude of different sports and recreation interests. Using one arena to serve more of the population has to be a good thing. Southwest United Soccer Club Academy, is an organization who, with close to 100, our need is the space that is already there in the mid-season. We have been offering year-round soccer programming for grade school kids for the past 7 years in Chatham-Kent. Our usual winter home, the St. Clair College Healthplex, has been converted to a COVID-related field hospital and testing center. With this petition, we are asking Council to consider that Thames Campus Arena be used as a multi-purpose facility for the indoor rentals from December 2020 to March 2021. This has been an exceptional year, and we are looking for solutions to get through this year. We hope the next year everything is back to normal and facilities will be used in the past that are readily available. Respectfully, John Johnson, Chatham Soccer Academy and Southwest. Council, just to let you know that there is also a petition that was received attached to the email that you received, and there are 352 Chatham residents that have been unverified but have signed the actual petition. Mr. Mayor, that is the end of the deputations, and we can move on to consent agenda.
Okay, go ahead, Madam Clerk, to walk through what has been pulled.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we have items that are being pulled. 11A, the Municipal Insurance RFP Award, Single Source Award from Councillor Sakachi. We also have 11B, which is the RFP for Public Transit Operator and Impacts of Driving Forward by Councillor Kirkwood-White and Councillor Latimer. We have 12A, 2020 Ontario Volunteer Service Award nominations from Councillor Kirkwood-White. We have item 14A, the sole source of the WE database platform tool by Councillor Kirkwood-White. Item 14B, which is the municipality's assistant small business COVID-19 pandemic, and that is pulled by Councillor Sakachi. We have 15B, which is the motion of Councillor Kirkwood White regarding the temporary arena repurposing. Thames Campus Arena has been pulled by Councillor Kirkwood White and Councillor Harrigan. And item 16A, which is the request for proposal for Chatham-Kent Police Services. We have Councillor Finn, Councillor Hall, Councillor Latimer, and Councillor Sakachi that have pulled this item. Therefore, we're asking that Council approve for under the consent agenda items 10A, B, C, and D, and items 13A and the last one, which is 15A.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councillor Hall and Councillor McGrail, can I get you put this on the floor, please?
Yes, moved, Mayor Kenneth.
Seconded.
Okay, hearing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
Waiting for one more vote, Council. Please remember to hit submit. All votes are in. Motion passes.
Okay, we'll go to item 11, tender awards.
11A, Municipal Insurance RFP Award, Single Source Award.
Councillor Sakachi and Councillor Foss, can I get you put this on the floor, please?
So moved, Mayor Kenneth.
I'll second that.
Okay, Councillor Sakachi, you had a question.
Yes, thank you. Through your worship, just a brief couple questions for Mr. Taylor. Is this in the line of the increases that we've seen over the past year since 2016? Is this something that's going to be in line to continue over the next, that you would estimate this is going to continue? And is this something that you think could be, adaptable if we received more than one quote on this matter?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor, for the question. I don't anticipate we'll see these types of pretty significant increases over the long term. The insurance market, like many markets, goes through some cycles, and we're currently in what the insurance industry terms a hard market, meaning insurance is less available, and as a result, premiums are more expensive. And so, over time, we'll move back into hopefully a softer market cycle where we might get better premium increases like we were 3, 4, 5 years ago, summarized in the report, where it was a few percent increases. So hopefully that's what we'll see. But certainly if we continue to get these types of increases, we have the ability in the future, a year, couple of years from now, to go back out to the market, do another RFP, and try to encourage some more bids. As we noted in the report, we only ended up getting one bid here, but we have followed up with the other insurance companies to try to encourage them to bid next time and see what changes we can make, so that hopefully would get competition for future bids as well.
And just a last quick follow-up question. Was there any kind of conversation that was initiated in regards to why it was only the single source bid?
Yeah, so we had the 4 companies that were plan takers that indicated they might bid and started to do their review. And of course, when we then end up with only one company bidding in, that's a concern for me. I want to make sure we get as many bids as we can to get the best price we can and the best service we can. And so I did follow up with each of those companies to figure out the reasons. And really, they were all pretty consistent, saying that it is really this hard market that they're in. They need to prioritize their existing clients, and it can become tough to do a bid, particularly for a large organization like the municipality. If it's a new client, they don't have that history with us. So I think that should hopefully go away for the next time we're out for bids. And we've also discussed with them, some minor tweaks here and there to our requirements of our RFP documents that hopefully should help encourage them to bid next time as well.
Okay, thank you for your time, Mr. Taylor.
Okay, seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
All votes are in. Motion passes. Moving on to 11B, RFP R20-294 Award, Public Transit Service Operator and Impacts of Driving Forward Implementation. Councillor Solomon has declared a conflict on this report.
Councillor Kirkwood White and Councillor Latimer, can I get you put on the floor, please?
So moved.
So seconded.
Okay, Councillor Kirkwood White, then Councillor Latimer.
Just very briefly, as the former chair of the Transit Task Force, I just wanted to congratulate Ian and his team on the very extensive amount of consultation that has been undertaken. And I'm happy to move all of the recommendations that he has proposed.
Councillor Latimer.
Councillor Kirkwood White took the words right out of my mouth, so I'm happy to second those recommendations.
Okay, seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
All votes are in. Sorry, Councillor, we were waiting for one more. Okay, now they're all in. Motion passes.
Going to item 12, Chief Administrative Office.
12A, 2020 Ontario Volunteer Service Award nominations.
Councillor Kirkwood White and Councillor Crew, can I get you put on the floor, please?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, Councillor Kirkwood White.
Thank you. I think this is a night to say thank you. This is a salute to all the volunteers, all 13 who have been approved to be submitted, but to also hundreds of other volunteers who are serving on committees of council and other committees from time to time. So thank you very much. Coming from the voluntary sector, I know how valued volunteers are in this community. So thank you very much.
Seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
All votes are in. Motion passes.
Go to item 14, Community Development.
14A, sole source We Data Platform Tool.
Councillor Kirkwood White and Councillor C. McGregor, can I get you put on this floor, please?
So moved.
Okay, to you, Councillor Kirkwood White.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is just a question related to a phrase that I read in the report that talked about data being available fully. And I wondered whether that meant free, given the fact that the Chatham-Kent Workforce Planning Board is taking the lead. I wonder if there had been any consultation beyond the departments of the municipality with local employment agencies like Goodwill or the Canadian Executive Search Group or Executive House.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. It's Stuart McFadden. And we've had multiple conversations. I think the Leaders Cabinet was a group that we've had a discussion with them about this platform, this tool. I did reach out and speak with the St. Clair College Employment Center. I have not spoken with Goodwill, but again, we had a lot of conversation around the Leaders Cabinet table and whatnot about what we believe this platform will provide for us. Many different departments can use many different tools. It means a lot to again, each department will be able to use the information differently. Hope that helped.
Through you, Your Worship, to Stuart, the reference to available fully, will it be available to nonprofit as well as for-profit organizations? Will this data be available?
I envision them when we talked about it internally. As we know, we do an awful lot of polling and requesting information from different businesses about what is happening in their reality. We feel this is going to be just another source for us to be able to access data. The information that pulls out, as long as we're not sharing private information about individual people, I don't see any reason as to why we would not be able to work with other organizations that have to see this information as being interesting as well.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
All votes are in. Motion passes. 14B, Municipalities Assistance to Small Business COVID-19 Pandemic. Councillor Hall had a conflict with this report.
Okay, Councillor Stakachi and Councillor McGrail, can I get you to put this on the floor, please?
So moved, Mayor Caniff.
And I will second it.
Okay, to you, Councillor Stakachi.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. Really brief point here and just a quick question as well. I think that this report was done in a very, very well mannered. It was very detailed, and I think it expresses the importance of us locally to shop local, especially with all the hard hit avenues. I just had one quick question in regards to the Safe Restart funding from the province to Mr. Quinton. If he anticipates any other funds coming down to help businesses navigate through these, if there's been any conversation in the province in regards to some additional funds that would be siphoned through the municipality.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. At this point, we have not heard anything coming directly through the province, through the municipality. But as Stuart has indicated in the report, there is a large increase in the number of programs and the variety of programs that have been offered recently directly to business owners by the federal and provincial governments. So I see the support for businesses coming directly and not through the municipality.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Quinton. And that is all, Mayor Caniff, that I have. Thank you.
Councillor O'Shea.
To your worship, I'd actually like to apologize. I should have also declared a conflict of interest regarding this, as I've applied for digital Main Street grant program for my business.
We will note that, Mayor Caniff.
Okay, seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
Okay, all votes are in. Motion passes. Mayor Caniff, moving on to 15, Infrastructure and Engineering Services. We have 15B, motion of Councillor Kirkwood-White regarding temporary arena repurposing, Thames Campus Arena. And this report is what the two deputations were received on this evening.
Okay, Councillor Kirkwood-White, to you.
Thank you, thank you, Your Worship. I would very much like to start by thanking the two folks who submitted deputations tonight, as well as the 350 plus individuals who signed the petition in favor of this motion. I would also like to say thank you to Jeff Bray and his team, particularly Brian Bennett, for inviting me to meet with three representatives of the pickleball, tennis, and pop tennis sports groups on Friday afternoon. Very impressed with their offer to help Jeff and his team lay out the flooring at Thames Campus Arena for the courts that they will need. And as has already been mentioned by one of the folks who submitted a deputation, there are already 87 hours that have been booked, or at least interest expressed, out of the 119 that are available. So I have a couple of questions for Jeff that relate specifically to what happens if interest exceeds capacity, and whether he might have had a conversation with the folks at the Bradley with regard to the use of their facility if necessary, and a little bit about the work that he and his team have been doing since last Monday, when this notice of motion was first presented. Just to let you all know that there's been an extensive amount of consultation that's gone on. So over to Jeff.
Sorry, before Jeff, before you answer that, Councillor Harrigan, can I get you to put this on, second this motion, please?
Happy to, Mayor Kenneth. That's why my hand was up. Thanks.
Okay. Over to you, Mr. Bray.
Thank you, Mayor Kenneth, through you. Thanks, Councillor Kirkwood-White. Yeah, it was a very interesting chat last Friday. We had reps from the pickleball, tennis, and pop tennis. So they were very, very enthusiastic. Since last week, I've consulted with groups that have expressed interest in booking time at the Thames Campus Arena, letting them know it's possibly shifting from formerly Ericsson to that facility. All of them have responded in the positive, except for one user group. So I have not asked if they for more definitive hours, but all of them were very enthusiastic. There's a couple lacrosse groups, two tennis groups, fastball, girls softball, which wasn't included in the first round. Baseball may be interested, but they're also opening their own facility. And volleyball is also interested. With regard to if we exceed capacity, because if we're getting up into the 80s, I don't know when the last time we had that many hours in an arena. I have met with Andy Davidson. I know that the tennis groups have also met with him as well, sort of parallel with this. Andy is the manager retained by, he works for Compass Group, which has been retained to manage the Bradley Center, as everyone probably knows. Andy doesn't have an issue with groups coming in there, but of course, as hopefully this COVID situation eases off, he's starting to see a bit of booking. So it would be, we'd have to coordinate booking time so it doesn't interfere with his exhibits and conference type activities. But at the end of the day, he said that's something that he understands where we direct his work. So it's a discussion point for sure.
And also through you, your worship, to Jeff, can you give us an indication of what extra expenses you might have with regard to the use of Thames Campus Arena and any projected income to offset those expenses?
The expenses that we're anticipating right now, we were thinking that we'd have some expenses perhaps to reorientate the heaters towards the floor. Brian has been running the heaters as a test since last week. This is what I would say is seasonal December weather, I would think. And the ambient temperature in the arena without reorientating them, and that's using only 3 out of 5 heaters, was 66 degrees. The racket sport gentlemen that were there, they thought it was a perfect temperature for active play. So that we wouldn't have to do that. What we are looking at, there may be some expenses in terms of, shall I say, maybe some protective netting. We have netting on to protect the stands now. We may have to extend that around. Chatting with the racket sport gentlemen, we may need dividers between courts. We also have rec programs on board to offer their adult programs there. We've had requests for that when some of the pickleball folks heard about this. They wanted to know if they're going to re-offer those programs. Recreation Programs is happy to do that. So we would be using some of their equipment in terms of nets and rackets and things like that. So I haven't, we do have some money allocated to that through per my previous RTC. I would think that, I believe it was $25,000 going off the top of my head, but I think we should be able within that threshold.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Councillor Sakachi, followed by Councillor Pinsino.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. I just wanted to echo the sentiments by Councillor Kirkwood-White. I think that this is a very good decision by Council to support this motion. We all know that there's a lot of groups that are in the community looking for these facilities like that. A quick question to Mr. Bray. I do know that this is one of the ices that stay in the longest, that as well as Blenheim. So what is going to transpire with the late ice? Is there still going to be an arena in Chatham that's going to be staying open for the late ice?
Through Mayor Caniff, thank you, Councillor Sakachi. We will extend both the ice at Memorial and Erickson for the extent of the programming that's there now.
Oh, so there'll still be, so the Chatham residents in Ward 6 will still have the availability to utilize ice that's late in the year, so that is great to hear.
That's correct.
Yeah, and I think with what we're seeing that's going on in the province as well as around us with the arenas being temporarily shut down, I think that this just makes a good business decision. And in that conversation, Mr. Bray, I know that this isn't exactly on this exact topic, but it does have some similarities to the conversation. With the amount of bookings for the arenas, there was some media release in regards to some comments made by ENT as well as yourself in regards to the renting of ice to exterior users. Can you just touch upon that? If not, I'm going to bring it up in open agenda, but since this is about arena, I was hoping that you could just touch on the renting of the surfaces and the ice.
Through Mayor Caniff, Dr. Colby has made a decision that in the interest of public safety, it's in our best interest not to rent to ice users coming from jurisdictions of a higher risk. And we have taken that into account starting this week. Okay, and I commend that decision by yourself and Dr. Colby, and I just think that it was important. I was starting to see a lot of questions as well as other councillors. My guess is about that particular that area. So I really appreciate you establishing that, and thank you so much for your hard work on this matter. And looking forward to having this center utilized for non-ice activities.
Councillor Pinsino, followed by Councillor Harrigan.
Thank you, Worship. I heard from a couple of user groups this week, very much in support of doing the non-ice events. I'm happy to see the process of consultation take place. I think it was all done properly, and I could be happy to support this. People had their chance. If they didn't want this change, they could speak up, and they didn't. So I'm happy to support this.
Councillor Harrigan, followed by Councillor B. McGregor.
Great, thank you, Mayor Caniff. Through you to Jeff. So want to say that certainly from the deputations that we received in the conversation that I have, I'm in support of this. My question though, Mr. Bray, is are you able to comment around what sort of program evaluation or kind of future focused engagement you will be doing with some of these user groups? As I understand it, the reason that there's so much need for non-ice activity in particular this year is because some spaces like the St. Clair College Fitness Center gymnasium are being used for COVID testing, and then other spaces that these groups might typically rent out are not being rent out due to COVID regulation. So I'm trying to understand if this is something that is a short-term opportunity that we're capitalizing on, which is fabulous, or if you think there are longer opportunities and what that means for some of our other partners in the community.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. That is, we've looked at that, Councillor Harrigan, with respect. Yes, the Sportsplex has been repurposed. Also, the YMCA is not open right now. The Wish Center is fully booked. They can't take any more bookings, which is good for this too. I view this as an interesting trial. As you noted, there are some aspects that make this a unique year with respect to we have an opportunity not to open a facility. Also, as noted, there's a lot of people that would typically fly south for the winter, and this isn't going to happen for obvious reasons. When I chatted with the pickleball people, I think they said something like 80% of their membership will be here this winter, which is unusual. So I don't know what I'd like to do once we get the program up and running. I'm planning to have some dialogue with all the groups to see if what their intent, what their wishes are, if they'd like to see this continue on. It's very important for us to get some metrics from them. If we return to whatever normal is again next year, we can see what their expectations are in terms of people that will remain behind and still expect this type of amenity in the community. The issue is if we do return to normal, we may be pushed or squeezed to find an appropriate venue. So I hope it's successful. I think it's an interesting time to do it, and there's certainly a demand.
Great, thank you. Happy to hear that you're already thinking about what the future looks like, and glad to see there's engagement with the associated groups in that process. Those are all my questions. Thanks.
Councillor B. McGregor.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. Just quickly wanted to maybe summarize, Jeff, did you receive any pushback from figure skating or Kent Minor Hockey or any of those associations that wanted Thames Campus Ice to stay open or to be reinstalled and opened?
No, through the previous RTC, thank you, Mayor Caniff, sorry. Through the previous RTC, I did reach out to those groups and they were all willing to stay at both Erickson Memorial for the season.
Yeah, and I think that's really great that they demonstrated that flexibility and that we're going to have this opportunity for increased usage across these three arenas, because I think we will see that ice usage is higher, only having two of them open even through COVID, and then we're going to see this unique new use. And I certainly will be interested to see a report in the spring or summer outlining what usage at the arenas look like this year. Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
All votes are in. Motion passes.
We'll go to item 16, Chatham-Kent Police Services.
16A, request for proposal of Chatham-Kent Police Services. My understanding, Mr. Mayor, is that Chief Khan has about 8 slides he'd like to show at this time.
Okay, over to you, Chief Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a check. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Chief Khan, we can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, members of council and those tuned in this evening. Before I get started, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to take a moment to publicly thank some people such as Deputy Chief Kirk Early, Inspector Mike Dominy, my predecessor, retired Chief Dennis Poole, and our own retired CFO, Mr. Mike Turner, as well as our Police Services Board, all who were instrumental in putting together this proposal for Leamington. I can certainly attest to the fact that a lot of work, meetings, and even a site visit down to Leamington went into the drafting of our proposal and placing us here today with me now coming before council and requesting approval to submit this proposal to Leamington for consideration. With that being said, I would be remiss if I did not remind council that this is a confidential RFP, and as a result, I am rather limited as to what I can provide council, as we do not wish to provide an unfair advantage to other bidders or taint this overall process altogether. I don't believe Leamington would be too impressed with that. However, I have put together a PowerPoint presentation, which I hope will answer most of your questions, concerns, or apprehensions, anxiety associated to this RFP. At the end of this presentation, if you require further clarification, I will certainly be glad to field those questions at that time, obviously within reason, just remembering the parameters placed on me because it is an RFP. So next slide. Thank you. This RFP actually consists of two components. There is an operational component, and then there is a budget or financial component. Contained within the operational component are these subheadings, which are before council, as you can see. I'm not going to delve into all of these, but I just wanted to bring to council's attention, these are some of the things that are contained within certainly the operational component of this RFP. So there is an introduction which basically outlines our police service, and then there is a proposed organizational chart for the new Leamington detachment if we are successful. Then there is police services to be provided to the municipality of Leamington, specialized services, police training, records management, police buildings, administration, local oversight, risk liability management, and then finally, conditions and caveats attached to this RFP. That benefits to successful application, that's more for council and is not contained within the actual RFP. Next slide, please. So as stated earlier in the introduction, basically contained within the RFP, there is a brief outline of our police service. As everyone here knows, we adhere to the philosophy of community-based strategic policing. We've been in existence now for just over 22 years, since the fall of 1998. And I think what's really important here is that, you know, there are some similarities between the municipality of Chatham-Kent and the municipality of Leamington in as much as each have a major city center that serves as a hub for the greater community surrounded by rural area. Obviously, Leamington is much smaller than Chatham-Kent. The actual RFP consists of approximately 300 square kilometers for Leamington, where everyone here knows that we patrol about 2,500 square kilometers in Chatham-Kent. Our service espouses the urban-rural policing model, and we have now for over 22 years. As opposed to other services which may have more of a concentration to rural policing versus municipal or urban policing. So it is the intent of this proposal to create a similar policing service model for the Leamington community that will hopefully address community issues and meet the needs of their community at that same time. Next slide, please. So local oversight. Right now, the Leamington is what we refer to as a Section 10 board. And that basically means that they've entered into an agreement with the Ontario Provincial Police. If they do decide to go with a municipal police service, they will then constitute a Section 27 board, which means that they will enter, their council will enter into an agreement with the municipal police service. In our case, obviously, with our police services board. With that, that falls under the provisions of Section 6.1 of the Ontario Police Services Act. What that will allow them, the Leamington Municipal Council, they will be able to appoint an advisor to our police services board. Now that advisor does not have voting privilege, but they can attend all of our open regular session meetings, as well as attend some of our closed, as long as they're invited by the board chair. And obviously that advisor will participate and provide input into our strategic business plan, which comes once every 4 years, and also towards our community safety and well-being plan, which is being mandated by the provincial government and something that we will have to have in place before the end of next year. We're actually hoping to have that in place by the spring or summer of next year. As it states right at the very end there, it is anticipated and expected that that advisor will have an active and ongoing relationship with the detachment commander to discuss any issues of concern or interest regarding policing issues in the municipality of Leamington. Next slide, please. So risk liability management. The inclusion of Leamington into obviously our operations, Chatham-Kent Police Service, brings with it the increased risk of civil actions, claims, and the costs associated to those matters. These matters cannot be predicted year over year, and on that basis, the municipality of Chatham-Kent and the Chatham-Kent Police Service use an annual reconciliation process for actual claims litigation costs each year. That same process is being proposed under this bid. Our proposal includes all employee-related costs to ensure that they are borne by the municipality of Leamington. And obviously, we have had significant input from our municipal legal, and I would certainly defer to Mr. Dave Taylor if he has anything to add to this particular slide.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. I don't have anything to add right now, but I'd be happy to answer any questions from council.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So this slide deals with conditions and caveats. And this is actually in the final component of our RFP. In submitting this proposal, our team, as I've stated earlier, consulted with EMT, Municipal Legal, and the Chatham-Kent Police Services Board legal as well. Subsequently, the Chatham-Kent Police Services Board and the municipality of Chatham-Kent include the following conditions as a part of the bid. And I would certainly draw your attention to all 4 bullet points, but I would emphasize the first 2. And based on that, I am going to read those first 2 bullet points. As many of the detailed terms of this new policing services relationship are unknown at the time of bidding, this bid is conditional upon the negotiation of the final terms of a mutually acceptable services agreement, the terms of which must be approved by council for the municipality of Chatham-Kent and the Chatham-Kent Police Services Board, both in their sole and unfettered discretion. Number 2, it is very likely that after this RFP process closes and the preferred bidder, let's presume that we are the selected ones, there will be outstanding items that will require further and final negotiations between the parties of terms and conditions of this proposal that can be mutually acceptable and agreed upon. So basically what I'm asking for council tonight is to authorize and approve me being able to submit this bid, which will go to Leamington. And then we're hoping we've been informed by Leamington Legal that the successful service will be notified by mid-January. So if we are successful, then the heavy lifting will really begin, and we will enter into negotiations where we are going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb. Upon finishing those negotiations, I will then return back to both the Police Services Board and Municipal Council with greater detail in regards to hopefully a binding agreement which is agreeable to all parties involved. Next slide, please. So why do this at all? Why should we look at, regionalization, the expansion of our police service? I've put together some points here, some bullet points on the next two slides in regards to benefits associated to this proposal. I'm going to emphasize once again the first bullet there. It's key for municipal council is that this request is simply approval to submit the bid. I will say that again. It's just a request simply to approve to submit this bid, not a final binding agreement. If our bid is successful, then further negotiations will require the input of council and staff for any final approval of a service level contract. And we're hoping that we would have that all ratified by the third or fourth quarter of next year. We've also been informed by Leamington Legal that they are hoping that whoever the successful service is that wins this bid would be tentatively ready to go by perhaps August of 2021. That can present some real challenges. Which I will certainly field any questions in regards to that after I've gone through this, the next few bullets. Consistency in policing. As crime recognizes no borders, we know that in the 21st century, and the fact that we currently deal with the influence of Leamington crime, and that deals with property crime, drugs, and organized crime. If we take responsibility of the area and the problems associated with Leamington, then we can effectively deal with the issues of mutual concern in a succinct and coordinated fashion. The expansion into Leamington will exponentially increase the sharing of intelligence, which will translate into more effective and targeted policing from our service. Training opportunities. Often the number of training opportunities or openings at OPC, which is the Ontario Police College, CPC, which is the Canadian Police College, or CISO, which is the acronym for Criminal Intelligence Service of Ontario, has a direct correlation to the size of the police service. Increasing the size of CKPS will naturally improve its access to such training opportunities. Opportunity for not only our civilian, but our sworn members as well. The larger we are, the more we will put back into the community. A larger service will provide for greater professional development of, once again, our sworn members and our civilian support staff. Growth. Growth is an indication of opportunity. This will bring more people to the area, and more people, more return to local businesses, more prosperity, and will lead to new community partnerships. Access to a larger pool of potential community partners that could translate into new programs and opportunities to benefit both municipalities. Next slide, please. Carrying on with growth, further growth. If successful, several other local municipalities in the surrounding counties have also expressed interest in the potential of contracting CKPS for policing services. Future of policing. Certainly over the last 26 years, I have been a police officer. The province of Ontario has gone from 126 municipal police services to what we have today, which is 46 municipal police services and 1 provincial police service. Regionalization, or OPP contract policing, appears to be the trend. In 1998, our municipality amalgamated and policing services became more efficient and effective as a result of that amalgamation. Provincial and federal funding. An increase in the size of the police service will naturally improve the access to provincial and federal funding through grants such as, and I just touched on a few, mental health funding, our RIDE programs, and other community policing incentives, grants, and opportunities. Regionalization, these last 2 bullets actually go hand in hand. So regionalization and economies of scale. Regionalization of policing services is one way to contain the impact on taxpayers. A larger tax base will allow for shared costs of policing. So when I'm talking about economies of scale, obviously a larger police service equals larger orders. Ordering in bulk reduces the costs associated to those orders. In addition, enlarges talent pool for services. This potential agreement would be to the mutual benefit, in my humble opinion, to both municipalities. Next slide, please. And that concludes my PowerPoint presentation. I thank you for your consideration in regards to this proposal, and I will certainly field any questions or concerns that members of council may have.
Councillor Crew and Councillor Hall, can I get you to put this on the floor, please?
Absolutely, I'd be pleased to put it on the floor.
Yeah, I'll second that, Mayor Kenneth.
Okay, Councillor Crew, did you want to make any comments?
Absolutely. I just wanted to tell council that the Police Service Board is in full support of this RFP. We had all the same questions and concerns probably that are going through your head. You know, the liability and the risk that you know, our taxpayers may be facing, but in the details of the proposal, it was very well done and addressed all of those concerns. So, and just to remind everyone, this is just an RFP. It's not commitment to anything except for allowing Chatham-Kent Police Service to put forward this proposal. Thank you.
Councillor Hall, followed by Councillor Finn.
Thank you, Mayor Kenneth. Just very quickly, I had sent some questions over to Chief Khan on the weekend, and he assured me that he would answer them all in his presentation tonight, and he certainly did. So thank you, Chief Khan, for the presentation, especially about talking about some of the benefits to the municipality, and mentioning some of the risks as well. So looking forward to the outcome of this and further conversations. So thank you very much.
Councillor Finn, followed by Councillor Sakachi.
Thank you, Mayor. I have several questions that I myself have had, and I've had a few sent to me. First of all, through you to the chief, how does the proposal to take over policing for the municipality of Leamington from OPP benefit Chatham-Kent? Is Chatham-Kent better suited to deal with organized crime or the OPP and training you specified there? Does every police service not have an equal opportunity for training? And are OPP also not part of CISO?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Oh, sorry.
Yes, sorry to Chief Khan. If you can go back to your two slides, you talked extensively about what are the benefits of Chatham-Kent, and I guess there was a couple additional questions that you can add on that Councillor Finn asked. The last two were not mentioned in the slide, but if you could answer those.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, are they going to bring up my last two slides, or at least my last slide?
Yes, we'll get it up there.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yeah, so I just want to reiterate, there was 9 points there. They went through them. Now, Councillor Finn, do you have any questions regarding those specific ones, the benefits that we talked about? Because you asked general question, what are the benefits? That slide answers it. Do you have any questions specifically to those number of points?
Well, he states training opportunities. How is it going to improve us? OPP do not have the same training opportunities?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, absolutely. The OPP have the exact same training opportunities as any municipal police service, but as you can appreciate, there are limited spaces. A lot of times those limited spaces go to the larger police services. So actually OPP and some of the larger municipal police services, it's all relative to the size of the police service. So my point here is that increasing our size may improve access to some of these training opportunities at OPC, CPC, and CISO.
Okay, and would there be a cost in addition to what? Or is that already part of the police budget?
That's part of the police budget, and I'm not going to get into the details or specifics surrounding budget or finances, which are contained within this RFP.
Okay. Secondly, you've had checked off in the area of strategic focus and critical success factors, how does this proposed takeover make Chatham-Kent a healthy and safe community with sustainable population growth?
I would refer back to when we went through amalgamation back in '98. There was a very aggressive and proactive recruiting process that went on. I came from another municipality, as did, I believe, 68 to 70 other police officers that had to relocate to this municipality. I'm not going to give the specifics in regards to our organizational chart or how many additional officers or civilian support that this is going to require, but the fact is going to remain that we are going to have to once again complete a proactive and aggressive recruiting drive to get the amount of members that we will require to satisfy this RFP. And those people will bring their families, no doubt, as I did and others back in '98. And it is through that I am referring to growth in our municipality.
Okay, so how long would that process take to recruit these officers? Because I know it can't be done in a couple weeks.
No, through you, Mr. Mayor, no, it absolutely cannot be done in a few weeks. We're going to obviously, we'll put out for new recruits that will have to go through the basic constable training program at OPC. But in addition, and to augment those recruits, we will be seeking direct entry applications from sworn members from other services.
Okay. And I would presume that if they're going to be working out of, or hired specifically to work out of the Leamington area, that they would probably move towards the Leamington area.
That is a possibility.
Next question, is this a cost neutral proposal? In other words, does the proposed costing add additional charges for Chatham-Kent residents in any way?
Not in any form or fashion.
Okay. Aside from Chatham-Kent Police hiring additional officers and increasing the size of the police service, will this proposal derive any benefits for Chatham-Kent? And I guess you already answered that one.
I did.
Even if Chatham-Kent Police Service and the board are successful to police Leamington, Chatham-Kent Police Service will still have to rely on the OPP or another police service for some tactical units like hostage rescue, diving services, bomb squad, etc. Are you considering providing these services in the near future? And if so, will this be an additional cost and liability for Chatham-Kent?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it will not be an additional cost. A lot of those services that Councillor Finn is referring to are provided at no cost by the OPP and also by the Department of National Defense. Certainly when we're talking about explosive units and that, and also public order maintenance, we have agreements in place with OPP, Department of National Defense, and also Windsor Police Service.
Okay. And I guess my last question will be for Mr. Quinton. A report was presented to council last month for area rating for urban and rural policing. If the proposal is accepted by Leamington, will the area rating for urban and rural policing become more favorable for Chatham-Kent residents? And will it also have an effect on the area rating for Wheatley?
Hi, thank you, Mayor Caniff. In answering your question, no, council has full control of where they area rate for Chatham-Kent, and basically this would be a bill presented to Leamington Council, and they would decide how they charge out policing. Currently, policing in Leamington is in the general rate, not area rated.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Okay, Councillor Sakachi, followed by Councillor Latimer.
Thank you, Mayor Canada. Sorry, I was muted and I could not speak. I just wanted to ask Chief Khan a very quick question in regards to, I could have missed it, my connection did slow for a second, in regards to the length, generally speaking, of these RFPs. I know I don't want to go into financial details and questions, but just curious to see if there's a length associated with these RFPs that you could just mention.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm just going to have to seek clarification. Councillor, when you say the length of this RFP, what exactly are you referring to?
So the current bidding process, is there a timeline associated with this bid, or is it just basically, like the renewal process? Like, when would that come up? I didn't see any details in regards to that. I could have missed it. My connection did slow, but just curious to see the length of the proposal in regards to if you do get approved.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. If council approves my submission of this bid, then I will submit it. It has to be submitted to Leamington by this Friday before noon. As I stated earlier, all bidders will know by the latest mid-January of 2021, and the contract is a 5-year contract for this RFP.
Okay, thank you, Chief Khan.
Councillor Latimer, followed by Councillor Harrigan.
Thank you, through the mayor. Chief, I'm really glad to hear that there won't be any increased cost to the CK taxpayers, and that in fact you're anticipating overall improved efficiencies and cost reductions, particularly for training and for equipment with regard to costing and bulk purchase. But I am wondering, because you would be taking on more rural geography, and we all know we have difficulty covering our rural geography now. Would perhaps the financial benefits offset some of our costs in our own municipality, so that we could put those towards improved, or maybe increasing the number of officers we have in our rural parts, so we can work on that perception that we all know is out there, and we talked at length last meeting about, or 2 meetings ago, I guess now.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. Generally speaking, Councillor, when we talk about our profession, that being policing, we are not in the business of generating revenue. That's not what we do. We provide a service, and the benefits associated to this RFP, anyway, I've outlined in the slides. The organizational chart and resources that we are proposing in this RFP are such that we're of the opinion they will not require our assistance, although they're all Chatham-Kent Police Service officers and support staff, but they would be, in essence, have their own small detachment police service in Leamington, and it's not going to require assistance from those members that are patrolling Chatham-Kent. Although there will be synergies, and there may be the odd time where we may have to go and assist them, or vice versa. But once again, without getting into the details, because unfortunately I can't, it would actually be easier if I could provide all the details, but it would taint the process. But I can assure you that we have placed into this RFP sufficient resources that they will be able to police their own without having to draw upon our resources from the municipality of Chatham-Kent.
Thank you, Chief. One last thing though, what happens at the end? Let's say we get the contract, and at the end of the 5-year contract, Leamington decides to, it goes back out, and we don't get it. And so what happens to those extra officers and equipment and et al. That we've taken on? Is there something in the plan that addresses that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, That is an excellent question, Councillor. Yes, there is the potential that at the end of this 5-year contract, that if they do not renew, then we would have to obviously reduce or abolish the service. Both of those options are provided to us in the Ontario Police Services Act. We have, or I'm going to suggest that we will be able to absorb naturally a good portion of the sworn members and civilian staff. But that being said, there will be a reduction of staff. So there will have to be severance packages provided. And I can assure council that that has been or that is contained within this RFP, that option. Hopefully that's not the case. I'm quite confident that if we are successful, that they would want to renew with us, but there is that potential.
Thank you, Chief.
Councillor Harrigan, followed by Councillor B. McGregor.
Great, thank you, Mayor Kenneth. I just wanted to really highlight and echo some of the comments that were made by Chief Khan around the opportunities for this proposal and the growth that it offers both our police services, and give some comment as well to the positive impact that I see having if we were to be successful, if we were to approve this, the positive impact it would have to West Kent. So as many of you know, the community of Wheatley in particular is about 7 minutes away from downtown Leamington. And so I think that when we look at the expansion of our police services, that consistency across that rural area and being able to blur kind of the line between CK police services ending and Leamington's beginning, because they are all under one umbrella, just offers for me so much opportunity. Not just for community policing and safety, but I also think, as Chief Khan mentioned, for innovation, for new programming, and for growth. So I want to applaud Chief Khan and those who supported him and the Police Service Board in making this application, and I'm really happy to support it. That's all.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you, Councillor. Our two municipalities are contiguous. So yeah, I think it's a natural fit, and there will certainly be collaboration between the two services, which hopefully would obviously become one police service. And I'll leave it at that.
Councillor B. McGregor, followed by Councillor C. McGregor.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. I know we've gone through quite a few comments, and I may have it may have snuck into the conversation pretty quickly, but we did mention there's some similarities in the urban and rural policing models in Chatham-Kent and in Leamington. And I think I heard Gord say that Leamington does not have area rating. Is that correct?
Thank you, Mayor Kenneth. That is correct. Now they could change that if they wanted to. But right now, that's a local community's option on how to charge out the service.
Right. Thank you. Just thought that was important to note between the two communities, and also just wanted to maybe reiterate the point that we're not taking on any of the cost of policing in Leamington. It's more of a situation where we're sending a bill and the bill gets paid. I think there's a good opportunity here, and I'm supportive in moving forward with the RFP.
Okay, Councillor C. McGregor.
Councillor McGregor, we can't hear you.
Boy, I hate that when I have to start all over. I wanted to thank council. I wanted to thank Chief Khan for the presentation tonight, and everybody that put the work into doing that, and of course the rest of council that have asked all the many questions.
I find it very interesting to move forward with this proposal because I think it could open up other opportunities for us, and it kind of reminded me a bit of what Integris does and some of those benefits that have come to Chatham-Kent. So all I want to say is I'm definitely in favor. I hope this moves forward, and I wish you luck if it does in securing the RFP. Thanks.
Seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
All votes are in. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council.
Okay, notice of motion. Councillor Scotchy, followed by Councillor Harrigan.
Thank you, Mayor Kenneth. Can I just defer to Councillor Harrigan quick first, please?
Certainly. Okay, Councillor Harrigan, followed by Councillor Scotchy.
Thanks, Mr. Kenneth. I, Councillor Harrigan, hereby give notice that I will bring forward the following motion for discussion and voting at the December 14th, 2020 council meeting. Whereas the greenhouse industry is an important part of agriculture today and in the future in Chatham-Kent, and whereas it is important to ensure greenhouse owners are able to be successful while simultaneously promoting the existence of dark night sky in the municipality of Chatham-Kent. Therefore, be it resolved that staff return to council with a report on the subject of greenhouse light emissions, and that this report include a summary of engagement with industry stakeholders, member of the public, and neighboring communities with regard to greenhouse regulations, and that this report provide recommendations with options to proactively address any potential light nuisance from greenhouses in Chatham-Kent, and that this report return to council no later than April 1st, 2021.
Okay, Councillor Scotchy.
Thank you, Mayor Kenneth. Sorry, for some reason I'm having difficulties with my my tablet. 1 second. I, Councillor Anthony Sakachi, here provide notice. I'll be bringing the following motion to the December 14th meeting of council for voting discussion. Whereas COVID has created significant challenges to programs and activities, and whereas due to this continued COVID-19 pandemic and the inability of those renting or operating municipally owned
Mayor Caniff, it sounds like we've lost Councillor Sakachi. Would you like me to read out his notice of motion?
Yes, please read it out. Thanks.
Okay. I, Councillor Sakachi, provide notice that I will bring forward the following motion to the November 14th meeting of council for voting and discussion. Whereas COVID has created significant challenges to programs and activities, and whereas due to the continued COVID-19 pandemic, the inability of those renting or operating municipality-owned recreation hall facilities to pay their normal base rents as normal activities are not possible, administration bring a report back to the January 18th meeting with a recommendation and potential funding source to consider waiving a portion of fees retroactive to April 1st, 2020, continuing through to June 30th, 2021.
Okay, we'll go to the communication items, and Councillor Foss and Councillor Thompson would like to pull items 2B and 2C. Councillor Foss, can I get you to put the rest of them on the table to vote on? And Councillor Thompson, I get you to second that.
Yes, also move. And I'll second.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none. Councillor Foss, item back over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that we support the request from the Lower Thames Valley and St. Clair Region Conservation Authorities requesting that the deletion of Schedule 6 from Bill 229, and further that these resolutions be sent to the Premier, the Minister of Finance, Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry, and the Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks.
Okay, Councillor Thompson, will you second that?
I would be happy to, yes.
Okay, to you, Councillor Foss, for comments, then Councillor Thompson.
Okay, thank you. The proposed changes strips power from the local conservation authorities and expanding ministerial authority on zoning and potential sensitive environmental issues. The proposed changes to the Planning Act could have significant impact on natural hazards. It would remove the Conservation Authority's ability to protect public from floods, erosion, and drinking water quality. Projects will be able to take place with without any environmental assessments. The proposed changes do not streamline but increase red tape and will slow and encumber the permit process. The proposed changes will not support and improve the continued protection of local residents from natural hazards. These are just a few of the comments with the proposed changes. There are several others, and I think the conservation authorities have covered those in the proposals that they presented to us in the informational items. Thank you.
Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Not too much more to add. There's been a lot of ink spilled in the media over the last couple of weeks in regards to this particular issue. It's one I think that we very much have to deal with, and we all here in Chatham-Kent know the importance of conservation authorities and the work that they do. So there is the proposed motion within the information package, and just looking for council support. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
All votes are in. Motion passes.
Okay, we'll go to first and second readings. Councillor Solomon and Councillor Oche. Can I get you put on the floor, please?
So moved. Seconded.
Anyone opposed? Carried. We'll go to the third and final reading. Councillor Foss and Councillor Harrigan, can I get you to put this on the floor, please?
So move.
Happy to second.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Go to Councillor B. McGregor. Resolution of council in closed session. Adjournment.
Would you prefer C. McGregor? No?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't have that
Okay.
paper. Thanks.
Just test to see if you're listening.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. I'll move that Chatham-Kent Council adjourn to its next meeting to be held on Monday, December 14th, 2020, and that Chatham-Kent Council authorize itself to meet in closed session on that day to discuss any matters permitted by the Municipal Act.
Okay, Councillor Bondi, can I get you to second that? Okay, how about Councillor Pinson?
Yeah, sorry, Mary. Give me a second.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll
Councillor
second
Bondi,
it.
second. Okay, you're going to third it, Councillor Pinsino? Perfect, thank you. Anyone opposed? Hearing no opposition, we'll close this meeting. Thanks, everyone. And we'll be going back into closed. We'll be getting some information as to the meeting. So if everyone can pull that up, and we'll see everybody back in closed. Thank you.